Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Sheila Beal, and I'm coming to you with a review of Tyler Perry's Sisters, Season 4, Episode 18. I believe this is called Enemy of Mine. The episode picks up where it left off with everybody down at the jailhouse. You have Andy, you have the DA, I think he may be the assistant DA, and you have Fatima, and you have Zach. So this is when the DA, he gives Zach the news that he will not be getting out of jail because of probation. And Zach is like, why am I on probation? The DA is like, because of the whole child support thing. And Zach is like, the kid is not mine. The DA is like, they always say that the kid is not theirs. So he just looks, the DA guy looks at Andy and was like, good luck. So he walks out, and now it's just the three of them, Andy, Fatima, and Zach. They're talking, and Zach is visibly upset. He's emotionally sad. He just doesn't know what to do because he thought he had it all figured out. Fatima is right there. Fatima is like, you know what? We're going to handle this. Andy looks over at them and she's like, you know what? Let me go make a phone call. So Andy leaves out of the room. And yeah, Zach is just miserable right now. He was like, every time I come up, something happens. He was like, I just hate this is going on. And Fatima is like, well, it's going to be okay. And Zach is like, why are you so calm? She said, because one of us have to be calm. We both can't be upset right now, you know? And then he's like, do you believe me? Like, this is not my baby. She's just like, yeah. He was like, I don't need this right now. She was like, well, I mean, I'm here. You know, we're going to help. We're going to do everything we can do to get you out of here. And if we can't get you out of here, I'm busting you up out of here. He was like, what? I know you know you playing. She was like, no, I'm for real. You know they know. You know I told you I was crazy. He was like, man, I don't know about all that. So, he's just like, man, I just wanted to be able to do something for you. He's tired of women always bailing him out. He was like, Andy, Fatima, Danny. And then, Fatima is like, who, Karen? And he was just like, I mean, he's like, he didn't say Karen, but we all know that Karen always bailed him out. But he was just like, yeah, I'm tired of that. And then she like grabs his face and was like, you can't get upset when people have connections. That's what they're there for, And I guess Zach thought that because he went and beat up Hayden, he was returning the favor. But you end up getting yourself in jail, bruh. So now you got to let the people get you out or whatever. So I mean, he's just real sad. And I did like this picture, how he just kind of leaned in on Fatima and laid on her. And she just held that man. She's like, you my man, I'm going to hold you down. We're going to get out of this. We're going to get through this. It's going to be all right. So meanwhile, Andy, you remember I said she stepped out and she went and called Robin. So this is her and she's calling Robin. So they're going back and forth. And Robin is like, oh, hello, whatever. Andy is just like, how are you doing? The little chitter chatter. And then he's just like, what's wrong with you? What's going on? And she's just like, how do you know something's wrong? And he was just like, I can hear it in your voice. And she's just like, oh, that's different. She's never had, I guess, somebody just say that they hear it. He's just being attentive. And then she brings up the whole Zach situation. I'm really trying to get Zach out. Have you heard anything? And he's just like, so why are you really interested in getting him out? Like, is he a good guy or whatever? And she was just like, I mean, he said, do you trust him? And she's like, well, yeah, I trust him. And then he's just like, well, did you used to date him? And she's like, no, I didn't sleep with him or date him. That was my best friend's boyfriend. I mean, he's a good guy. And then he goes on to say, well, he asked her who is the DA, and she told him who the guy was. And he said he is the assistant DA. He knows the actual DA's daughter because he went to school with her. And Andy is like, well, shoot, did you sleep with her? And he was like, no, I didn't. Are you jelly? Are you jealous? She's like, no, but I mean, both of them are clearly jealous because y'all already asking questions. Who slept with who? How you know who? And, all this other stuff. So he tells Andy, he's going to, give a call. And she's just like, how long do I wait? And he just like, give me 10 minutes. So she's just like, thank you so much. We'll talk about it later. So that scene is over. So then you go back to the apartment and you have the guys there. First you have Maurice and Q. So Q is supposed to fix breakfast for Maurice when he wakes up. So Q is doing his job. He's like, I got breakfast for you. And Maurice is just like, oh, okay, serve me. And Q said he is trying to look for a job. And Maurice is just kind of looking at him like, oh, okay. And he said, do you know anyone who's hiring? And Maurice is like, the bank. And Q is excited like, oh, so do you think they're hiring me? And Maurice clearly was being funny and was like, I mean, you will go to a place where you robbed. And then Q, he was just like, okay, whatever. I'm trying to do something here. I'm trying to get on my feet. I'm trying to go legal. I'll just go fill out a job at, application at one of the restaurants or wash dishes or be a cook or something. So they're over there talking, and then you have Calvin. He gets up. He has a hangover. He comes, around into the kitchen, and Maurice is playing with Calvin like, you know what you did last night. Calvin was like, I know what I did last night. And he was just like, oh, you were in my room. No, I wasn't in your room, Maurice. Yes, you was. I got a picture. And he was like, what? So he shows him the picture in his video phone, as Maurice said. And Calvin is like, why am I in your room, and why am I laying on you, and why, Q, you don't have any pants on? And Q is like, well, I mean, like I said in my last video, that it was the middle of the night, you were in there throwing up, he got in there and he took care of you, and he made sure you weren't throwing up everywhere, because people die when they drunk and throwing up. And so Calvin is just like, oh, but Maurice is trying to make Calvin feel as if something more happened when it didn't. And Q offers Calvin some drink, some orange juice for his headache. Calvin didn't drink it because he doesn't trust them. You could clearly see he just put unless he put something in the whole entire bottle of orange juice, then whatever. So Calvin is just like, you know what? I'm getting out of here. Y'all have at it. He leaves and he picks up a piece of bread and he gone on about his day or whatever. So now it's back to Q and Maurice. So he's just like, okay, you're here. I need you to do what you said you was going to do, because Maurice is really, everybody can see that Maurice likes Q. And Q seems like he does like Maurice. So he's just doing whatever he can so he can make them happy in the situation that they're in. So Maurice is being a diva. He just throws his foot up and just like, give me a fork and a spoon and a knife. I'm like, Maurice, what you going to do with a spoon? You going to stir the eggs? I mean, I don't know. But it was kind of funny. It was cute. So he give him, the spoon and all that stuff. And then the scene is pretty much over. All right, so you have Karen down at the shop, and Aaron walks in, and Karen is like, hey, what are you doing here? And he was just like, oh, I picked up your keys by accident. And she was like, my keys? How you pick up my keys? And he was just like, well, they were in the chair. I thought they were mine. I picked them up when I realized I had mine in my back pocket. And she was like, oh, so Aaron gives Karen the keys. She looks at the keys like, oh, the keys, like, what? Those aren't your keys, or who keys are they? And she said, oh, these are Zach's keys. And, he was like, oh, okay, well. And then she said, well, I mean, it's nothing that you could have known. It was probably when he left, he threw the keys over in the chair and they probably went into the cushion or something. So it's whatever. And then he asks her, can we see each other later on? I bring pickles and ice cream. And she says yes, she would love to see him later on. And that was pretty much the end of that. And he also said he didn't want her to be locked out of the house. But I'm like, how's she gonna be locked out of that house when she had her keys and she locked her door when she left? But he didn't know that, so whatever. So Aaron leaves and you have Pam, there. And so Pam is just like, oh, he's fine. And, and so what y'all got going on? And Karen is just like, I know, he fine or whatever. He brought me the keys. And Karen asked Pam to call Zach so that he can come get the keys. And I was just kind of confused. I'm like, why? I'm asking the same questions Pam asking. So he hadn't had these keys in months, and he left them at your house. So why do you think he gonna need these keys now? Karen is just like, it doesn't even matter. Just call him. Just call him. And then Pam is like, yeah, I would call him, but he in jail, you know. And Karen is like, well, how do you know he's in jail? You know, because she said, I know. How do you know? She said, well, you know, I know what's going on. And then she said, so what is he in jail for? And then Karen is just like, you know, he got it. Hold on. I know they were asked, let me see, how did it go? What was he in jail for? Oh, for fighting down at the office. That's what Karen said. And then Pam is just like, yeah, because he was fighting Hayden over Fatima, over the assist, something like that. The whole thing is they got into the fight down there because Zach was protecting Fatima. And Karen is like, well, since you know all of that, you know, you can tell me when he getting out of jail. So I guess Pam is on a mission to find out when Zach getting out of jail. I guess so they can give him the keys. I don't know, but that was pretty much it with that. So you're back at the office at the bank. Sabrina is there working, and Bio comes in, with flowers. So he is so happy to see Sabrina, and they're actually dressed alike. Well, they're not dressed alike. They have on the same colors, like that orange. And so he's like, can we talk? No, can you take a break? She was like, no, I don't have a break. We can just go inside my office. So they go inside of her office and they're talking. He's telling her she looks beautiful. And she's saying to him, why didn't you tell me that you were a prince? And he was just like, well, you know, it's not a big deal. It's a small country. You know, my mother and father, they make big of a deal of it than I do. You know, here in America, nobody knows, nobody cares. And Sabrina is just like, well, shoot, yeah, they do care. You just don't know. No, whatever. And so he's just like, how do you know I'm a prince anyway? And she says she met some people at the store, and she shows him the picture of the girls or whatever. And that's how she found out. And he was just like, oh, okay, you know, all right, well, yeah, I am a prince. And he brought up the flowers. He said, did you read the card on the flowers? So she looks at the card on the flowers and she said yes. So pretty much he asked for a date tonight. And he said he's either going to come pick her up or he's going to send a driver. And she was just like, no, I don't need you to do all that. He was like, no, I'm going to either pick you up myself or send a driver because this is how I want you to be treated. I want you to be treated like a princess because you are a princess. And she's just so happy and she's smiling and she's just like, you know, okay, you know, I'm going to, you know, we going to have a date tonight. So while he's about to get ready to leave, you see Maurice over there being nosy as he always is. So Bio is going out the door and he over there singing, Mama Boonie, you know, from The Color Purple. He over there, child, made up some stuff, patting his chest. So he goes into the office with Sabrina. And he was like, girl, he always bringing you flowers. Like, I wish somebody would bring me flowers. Well, Q tried to bring you some flowers. They just had Sabrina's name wrote. They just had Sabrina's name wrote on them. But anyway, so he's just like, so what are you know, what do you got going on? And, you know, what are you doing? And she was just like, you know, mind your business. And he gets to snapping on her and, you know, being just talking about her and what she looked like and all of that stuff. And she's just like, Maurice, get out of here. And you close my door. He leave the door open. He walks out telling the lady, talking about his hair used to be blonde too. So that's pretty much what that was. All right, so then you have Danny and you have the detective guy. They are at the airport. And I notice every time I see luggage, it's going to be at Danny's job. So he comes over. He has on a nice little jacket. He looks very, very clean cut. His hair looks nice. He actually looked nice. And Danny is looking at him like, okay, she real flirty. She like, you ain't got your bad boy clothes on. You clean up real nice. And so she just giving him his compliments, and they have a date today too. So everybody has dates tonight. Everybody, Andy got a date. I think Andy got a date. Did she get a date? Well, Sabrina got a date. Danny got a date. And she telling him to walk off slow, just real flirty. I thought this was really cute. I kind of laughed through this whole scene, so that was cute. All right, so you have Jake. He pulls up, and there's the guy, the construction guy. He's there waiting on Zach. So apparently both of them have been calling Zach, and Zach hasn't been answering the phone because he's in jail. So they're just trying to figure out where is Zach, where is Zach. The construction guy, he is so upset. He is, talking very aggressively, like, I need my money. I've been calling him all day. I got to pay my employees. And then Jake is being very noble at this point. He's like, let me see the invoice. He write him out a check for $3,500. And then he, the construction man going about his way. Is this a good check? Yeah, what you think? So it's a good check. So he leaves. All right, so when he leaves, that is when Jake gets on the phone to call Fatima at the law office. But Fatima isn't there. She's waiting outside the courtroom until Zach get out. But anyway, so he calls the office. He calls down to the office, and because Fatima isn't there, Andy picks up the call. And so they're having a whole back and forth about, is Fatima there? And Andy is like, no, Fatima is not there. And he's just like, she's saying, Andy is like, how do you know Fatima? She said, I met Fatima through Gary, about Zach. And Zach, how do you know Zach? And he said, I met Zach through Gary. How do you know Gary? I work for Gary in whatever part of the office he works for Gary in. And he has been working with Zach for quite some time, trying to prep him with his requisitions or something like that to get him prepared for whenever the SEC comes to speak with him. And Andy has got her lawyer hat on, and she's just like, oh, okay. And then she's like, interesting. And so Jake is like, can you give me Fatima's phone number? And Andy is like, nope, I'm not giving you Fatima's phone number, but I will give her number to you. So then, she commits to writing it down, and he's just like, thank you. But she's being very like, yes, no, what, why, who, when, where, all of that. So, yeah, they get off the phone. So now Preston pulls up in his big old truck. I guess Zach's house is the meeting place. Everybody is meeting at Zach's house to figure out where Zach is. At first, Zach didn't have no friends. Now Zach got all the friends, right? So they're talking. Preston, right? Oh, Jake, right? Yeah, looking for Zach. Oh, yeah, looking for Zach. Well, then here goes Jake. Do you know anybody that may know where Zach is? Preston like, yeah, I know somebody, but I really don't want to call her. Man, can you please call her? Because I'm really trying to figure out where he at. So then he ends up calling Danny. But my whole deal is this. Preston, why are you so mad at Danny? You ain't got to be that mean. I mean, I know you and your feelings about her or whatever, but you ain't got to be that. Where's Zach at? You ain't seen him? Well, we looking for him. We outside the house. Danny, she don't make it no better. Oh, the dead has a reason. What you say, the dead is alive or something like that. What you ain't the Zach whisperer? Am I supposed to know where Zach at? We looking for him. Well, he in jail. He in jail. Why? He got into it with somebody named Hayden. So they get back and forth. And then Danny gave him another opportunity. So you don't want to talk about anything else? He was like, nope, I don't want to talk about nothing else. All right, so they ain't talking about nothing else. All right. So then Preston goes on to tell Hayden, Preston goes on to tell Zach that Hayden is in jail behind something. That Zach is in jail behind something, a fight that happened at the office with Hayden. And Jake is like, oh, wow. Okay. So, back at the office, Andy is there. Robin comes in. Robin is telling Andy he is about to leave. Now, this is the part where I kind of got confused at. Because he came in to tell Andy he is about to leave. So was he going back to London? Or was he just going for the day? But they are supposed to hook up that night, right? I think so. Because I think they may have made plans when she was at the jail. Anyway, so, they coming in and he is telling Andy that, he got Zach out. You might need to go down there and check on him. And then he brought up the whole thing with Hayden, that he didn't like Hayden. I think I'm jumping ahead because I am jumping ahead. So Robin comes in and tell Andy that Zach is about to get out. And, they do that whole play for banter that they do. And then he leaves. So that's when Andy calls Fatima and says, hey, where are you? She says, I'm at home. And she said, okay, well, how soon can you be down to the jailhouse? And she said, in 2 seconds. And she was like, girl, I thought you was at home. That's what Andy told Fatima. And she's like, girl, I've been out here waiting on my man to get out. She was like, oh, Lord, you old stalker, you. So she's just like, well, okay, well, we're about to get him out of jail. So I guess go on in there. So she's all happy and they do that. Robin comes back in and he tells Andy that Hayden has been looking at that federal footage down at the airport for hours and hours and hours. He can do this for hours and hours. And she's like, why? I hope it's nothing illegal. And he said he hope it is something illegal because he doesn't like Hayden. He's trying to get Hayden fired. And in a way, when they said, I hope it's nothing illegal, I was like, well, dang, Zach did do something illegal. I just hope it's illegal on Hayden's part so he can get on up out of here and get fired. But she said he just gave her the heads up. And she's just like, okay, thank you so much. So now, then this part confused me too. Because Gary is back at his office, still looking at him in his telescope, upset. Andy walks in and he's just like, I'm so stupid. She's in her apartment having sex with Robin. I was like, should this part be right here? Because Andy is down there at the jail getting Zach out of jail. So how she can't be two places at once? Maybe he's talking about from earlier. He's still mad from earlier. But then Aaron goes over, look in the telescope, and says, oh, wow. Like he really sees something going on. Did y'all see that? Did y'all notice that? Was that not confusing? Because it was confusing to me. I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. And now Aaron is trying to pull Gary off of a cliff because Gary is like, I'm going to talk to her. He was like, don't you go talk to her. You the one bought her this apartment. You moved all of this stuff out of her apartment to put her in this condo. You said it was hers. So you can't get mad who she bring over there. But in Gary's mind, he was thinking that if he did all of this, then Andy would love him. Andy wouldn't be with nobody but him. And they would have a family. Andy ain't even saw your son yet. So how y'all gonna have a family? Anyway, so they have this whole back and forth about him being stupid. And Aaron saying, I'm not letting you leave until you calm down. You are not going to talk to her until you calm down. So that's all that was. Now you have them at the jail. You have Andy and you have Fatima. So they're sitting down and they're waiting for Zach to come out, right? So Fatima is just like, thank you so much. I'm here with my man. Andy calls them Bunny and Clyde. And Fatima says, tell Robin thank you so much. Andy puts this little smile on her face like, yeah, I'll tell him. And Fatima is like, what is this smile for? She was like, girl, I'll tell him. So Fatima already figured out that they'd already been messing around. So she was like, okay, girl, do whatever you do. And so they kind of get up. They tell each other bye. But in the midst of them telling bye, Zach walks out. Zach is very happy. You can see it on his face. He looks at Andy. Tell Andy, thank you so much. She's like, no problem. And she said, I'm about to get ready to, to go because Fatima had already said, she could leave or whatever. So Andy leaves, tell everybody bye. And Zach and Fatima are back happy again. They're two jailbirds. Birds of a feather flock together. They Bonnie and Clyde. They trust them other hitters because they down for they hitters. You know, they back in the saddle. And Zach is just like, you know, come on with me. I'm going to show you my surprise. And Fatima is like, surprise? She was like, yeah, my surprise. And I'm driving. So they drive on off. And this is the part right here. This part right here. I'm not going to talk about this man, but Hayden has been sitting here looking at federal footage at the airport for hours and hours and hours, and he finds Zach talking to the lady, the senator's wife. They were getting a divorce, the senator's wife. And now he says he got Zach. So I really hope that they shut him down because Hayden is doing the absolute most. And I also hope that Fatima and Zach don't do anything physical to him. They need to handle everything legally. They need to get their stories right legally. Because in actuality, she was on the airport, but he doesn't know the conversation. Still, he doesn't know the conversation. So they can say that conversation was about whatever. Only thing he knows is that they seen each other. He doesn't know that they met up at the hotel unless he ain't got no track on Zach. But anyway, so I just look at it like they need to find all the dirt that they have because Hayden is being sneaky, but Hayden is being smart at the same time because he's finding actual footage that is against Zach and Fatima. And Fatima just laying hands thinking it's going to go away. So you have to fight fire with fire. And so I hope that they do that. And they had this dude looking crazy because he is just the flea that will not flee. Okay, this is Sheila Bila. This like, comment, and subscribe. This is Tyler Perry's Sisters. And yeah, tell me what you think. Leave it down in the comments. Are y'all ready for Hayden to leave? Yes, I am. Are y'all ready for Danny and Preston to make a move? Yes, I am. And I'm actually I want to see where Sabrina and Bio go, because Bio actually looked really nice in this episode. Matter of fact, all the men except for Hayden and Gary, they look really, really nice in this episode. They look really clean or something. I don't know if they got fresh haircuts or what. But anyway, this is Tyler Perry's Sister. Y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you think. Bye.